Welcome. This is David Bowles, Human Meme. Today's topic: what you think is not what you know. All too often we like to think we are always right. We like to believe the sun revolves around us. And we like to believe that we alone are the center of the universe. Well, sooner than later we quickly learn that sometimes it doesn't matter what you think. It matters more what other people think. And then we live the rest of our lives struggling with that cogent disconnect of logic. And here's a quick example of this ongoing disconnect and wonderment from my life 30 years or so ago. The year was 1987, and I had just graduated fresh from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and I was looking to get out of town any way possible. I had been accepted for graduate study at Columbia University, but I could not legitimize or afford the massive $50,000 a year it would cost me to go. Tuition, board, food, books, everything. But I still wanted to get out of Nebraska. And so, in an attempt to keep all my options open, I deferred Columbia University for a year, and I decided instead to head to Washington, D.C., to follow the new love of my life, who would later become my beloved wife. And I thought I might want to try a graduate program in Washington, D.C., and of many schools there, I chose Howard University, a traditional black college, for my application for graduate study. And I applied to Howard because I knew it was a good school, and it was unique in the space it occupied in the academic world. And I was seeking a whole new educational view of the world. Well, the people I knew in Nebraska were pretty much appalled at my choice of schools. And they weren't appalled because of the quality of Howard University, but because I was a lily white boy hoping to get accepted at a traditional black university. And honestly, I didn't see the problem at the time, and I still sort of don't. But most of the people I knew back then thought I was crazy insane to even attempt to go to school and live around the area of Howard University as a pale white Nebraska boy. I did, however, find some UNL faculty members who recommended me to Howard University, and I was accepted. And so we loaded up my russet Ford Futura, and we set out to Washington, D.C. together. And it did not work out. Well, everything worked out really well, except for my plans to attend Howard University. I did not attend the school. And that decision had nothing to do with economics or racism or the quality of education offered. I just decided I needed to try to earn some money and get some experience, and so I decided to work at Ford's Theater and Arena Stage and the Kennedy Center for a year before we actually took up Columbia University's enhanced offer of a Schubert Foundation presidential scholarship. And so in 1988, we were off to New York City, never to look back in anger again. at the Midwest or at the capital of our nation. Now, my human meme friend, the merit of this story is actually this. In 1987, I was fine with attending Howard University. Now, was that hubris? Was that white privilege? Was I just being insensitive and naive and wanting a whole new take on the world? Well, as I look back now, 30 years later, I'm not sure that I would have been welcomed by Howard University. I mean, sure, I was officially accepted and welcomed. But specifically, would the professors and my student peers have accepted me and my vision? Me, a white boy from Nebraska, in D.C., alone and naive, trying to get along at Howard University. Was I seeking an education, or would I have been seen as an invader of a safe space? My black friends then and now find the story outrageous. They claim my want to attend Howard University was and is a hallmark, the very definition of white privilege, where I was using the advantage of my skin color to push my way in to exploit the excellence of a black education and black culture for my own selfish gain. Me, the lily white boy, declares his intention of walking onto a black campus to earn a master's degree in English when someone else, perhaps darker-skinned, could have had my place instead. And perhaps they are right. Perhaps my own narrow vision of just wanting to escape Nebraska at any cost was indeed the height of selfishness. But my intention then as now was to dedicate myself to the Howard University experience and take the good with the bad. And I know I may not have been sensitive to or even fully aware of the cultural totems that might be in play for me at Howard University that I did not dare to realize on my own, using my own limited cultural wisdom outside the window of Nebraska. So, in this example of Howard University, what I thought didn't really matter. What I thought was not what I knew, because there is and was always more to it than just that. It pretty much mattered what Howard University, as an institution, would have made of me. I wasn't looking to be a pioneer. I didn't want to cause trouble. I just wanted a good graduate school that was affordable and excellent, and Howard University at that time, and perhaps still now, was just that. And yes, I know, Washington, D.C. proper is host to a plethora of excellent universities. George Washington University, Gallaudet University, Georgetown University, Catholic University, American University, and so on. But none of that doesn't mean Howard University would not have been a right fit for me. And I understand there are always other agendas and considerations at play that may be hidden and waiting to welcome you, or to bite you, or to attack you. And so you must try to become wiser beyond the limits of your experience. And you become wiser in that this way, by asking questions. And you become wise by seeking thoughtful advice from others that isn't just based on race or radicalism or cultural protectionism. And that is a hard nut to bite today, especially today, because most people have an agenda. They want to get you to do something. They want you to behave in a certain way that pleases them. They want you to adopt their belief system. They want a world that makes them happy, and they don't care about your happiness. And so we try to survive, born blind and miserable, and we hope never to escape from our tomb and enter the womb of the real world. The real world, where temptation and opportunity clash with history and reality, and the inspirations of those who may not find your wishes and your wants as charming as you believe them to be, even in all earnestness and honesty. And so we struggle to find our way, to make our mark, to survive from one day into the next. And yet, there are always barriers and blockades that trip us up and take us down. And yet we yearn for wisdom, external knowing, and we need belonging, and we hope to find the right way into the light and out of the graves of our birth. And yet, my human meme friend, we stumble more often than we leap. And yet, we are often saved by grace, and by fortitude, and by grit, and by those around us who care enough to lift us out of the pit, at least to point us in the right direction. But, in the end, the thinking belongs to us. We own our decisions. We take step after step into the horizon that we can only hope will welcome us, and not ridicule us, with the wonderment of this question: what were you thinking? Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.